Hello and welcome to our webinar today. I am Dr. Leah Jeunnette. We are so delighted to have you join us for our Master's in Bioethics and Medical Humanities focus on a gap year option for students. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. For those of you who are attending live, if you could just let me know that you can hear me and see the screen through the Q&A feature, that would be incredibly helpful to make sure that everything is working before we kind of dive into the topic more. Thank you so much. I see someone said we can hear you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so as I said, we are going to focus on this idea of a gap year, or as we like to say, taking a year on instead of taking a year off. As we go through, we'll talk, more specifically about that. So I'm going to start with introducing myself. I am, as I said, Dr. Leah Jeunnette. I'm the director of our Master's in Bioethics and Medical Humanities program. I'm also the actually now Associate Director of Educational Programs and a Senior Research Associate in our Department of Bioethics as well. And I also work as a clinical ethicist at one of our area hospitals here in Cleveland at University Hospitals. In addition to those things, I am also a graduate of this master's program. I graduated in May of 2009, and so it's been a number of years, but I very much love the full circle-ness of doing the program and now directing it. So we are going to talk a little bit about Case Western Reserve and the School of Medicine. We'll talk about the MA program, do an overview, talk about program outcomes, and especially for those who are looking at gap year options. We will conclude with application process, deadlines, student assistantships, and financial aid. And we will do Q&A. As we go through the presentation, if you have questions, feel free to submit to the Q&A feature here on Zoom. I will wait to the end to answer the questions, but if a question comes to mind, you are welcome to submit them early, and we will answer this towards the end. So Case Western Reserve University is located in Cleveland, Ohio. We are the school, our master's program and our Department of Bioethics is located in the School of Medicine here at Case. There's a lot of great things about our School of Medicine, one of which we are very highly ranked when it comes to research, when it comes to education, and there's all different metrics you can look at for that. But what it says is that we are a thriving School of Medicine, both on the MD side and in our master's and PhD programs, in our research, in our collaborations with other schools at Case, other institutions in the city, hospitals, and other institutions across the country and around the world. And so we're really proud of that collaboration and the commitment to both education and research. One of the questions I often get asked is, why study bioethics and medical humanities? It's an area that maybe folks think about the ethical issues as it pertains to research or medicine, but maybe don't have the language for it. Ultimately, healthcare impacts all of us. As individuals, as members of a community, as citizens, as global citizens, right? These things impact us. And one of the things we see is constant advancements in our medicine, in our science, and our technology. And they can lead to big questions that ultimately have ethical and humanistic concerns. So questions like, should we intervene? Or frankly, can we intervene? What kind of values should inform policy and or practice? A question like, can we and should we ensure justice and respect for persons in research and clinical practice? There are many other questions we can ask, but these are just a small sample of the big questions that come up in healthcare, whether it's professionally or even personally with our own health or our loved ones' health. So because of that, we talked about why study it. So if someone's going to study it, how does it help with a career path? We have students that come to our program with all different backgrounds, all different areas of interest. And because bioethics and medical humanities is interprofessional and multidisciplinary, it allows students to be launched into a myriad of career options, professional careers, and different paths. So we have students who go on to go to medical school, law school, right, various clinical and legal professions. We have students who go on to do regulatory work or research work, students who go into arts and humanities, students who actually study bioethics full-time or medical humanities full-time, other areas of academia. And we always have a segment of students that are focused on discernment. So while they are exploring options, they believe they might want to be in something health related or healthcare related. They're not exactly sure what that career looks like or what the career possibilities are, and even how to get there, what path takes them. And so a program like this allows for the field actually of bioethics and medical humanities allows for that discernment naturally for students. So moving on to give an overview of our master's program. So we are a Master of Arts. This upcoming fall will be our 30th year of the master's program. We're one of the oldest Masters in Bioethics programs in the country. We're very proud of that. And we have been slowly over the 30 years been able to grow our program both in the curriculum and in the size and in the scope. And so we're really proud of the progress we have made over 30 years. Our program is typically completed full-time in a 1 year or essentially 2 semesters time frame. There are part-time options, and students who complete the program part-time typically do it in 2 to 3 years, although some may take longer as long as they're making progress on the degree. The program is a total of 30 credits, and it is very customizable. So a little less than half of the credits are purely electives that students can choose, focusing on different areas of bioethics and medical humanities. Most of those electives will be taken within the department. We have a lot of course offerings, but some can be taken externally as well. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. We have 160 hours of clinical ethics rotations available to students as a part of the required curriculum. So all students will do a minimum of 80 hours in their first semester or their first time doing rotations. And then most students do a second semester, although a few will do our concentrations and ultimately a practicum project instead. Again, I'll talk more about our concentrations and the practicums in a little bit. But within the curriculum, we also have opportunity for students to do short-term study abroad immersion courses. Again, I'll touch on that in a little bit as well. Students are assigned an academic advisor. Someone from our faculty will help with personalized advising. So students can talk to them about their career goals, their program goals, and how this program can help achieve those goals. So what courses are going to make the most sense for you in your situation. We also have dual degree options, so students can apply and be accepted to each of the dual degree programs separately or independently. And then provided you're accepted to both of those programs, you would be admitted to the dual degree. Our dual degree options include dual degree with the MD program, the JD program, MPH, Masters of Public Health, our social work, so a Master of Social Work, and a Master's in Genetic Counseling. So we are really excited by those opportunities for students. So within our curriculum, I mentioned we have concentrations. So by default, students will be in what we call our traditional program, meaning they take the required core courses, and then the remainder of their options are purely electives. We also have concentrations focusing in medicine, society, and culture, research ethics, and health policy. These have been developed over time. Research ethics was actually our first concentration that we offered. We've been offering that for around, maybe 18 years. Medicine, society, and culture was added in 2017, and health policy was added in the fall of 2023. So it's our newest one. So how does it compare, depending on what you're studying? So all students, let's move forward. All students take Foundations in Bioethics and Medical Humanities 1 and Clinical Ethics Rotations 1, as I mentioned. If you're in the traditional program, you have an elective number 1 here. It's typically 3 credits. If you're in one of the concentrations, you may have a designated course that you're taking to fill that slot. For instance, in the mini elective, each of the concentration has their own mini elective that if you're in that concentration, you would be required to take. Students take Foundations 2 in the spring. They write a capstone paper. And then two of the concentration, or in the traditional program and in the MSc concentration, you can do a second semester of clinicals. In the research ethics and the health policy, you are required to do a practicum project. And so we identify a project for you to work on as it relates to the concentration. Of course, students who are in the traditional program or in one of the concentrations are still welcome to take others of these courses. So while courses like Foundations of MSc, Research Ethics and Regulation, Research Ethics Journal Club are required for their concentrations, they are electives for any student in the program. So they are not exclusive to the concentrations. As I mentioned, we have clinical ethics rotations. These, I think, are one of the #1 reasons that students choose our program. So here in Cleveland, we have 4 teaching hospitals that are directly affiliated with Case Western Reserve and our Department of Bioethics. University Hospitals and Cleveland Clinic are the 2 private hospitals in the region. Metro Health is our county hospital, and the VA here in Cleveland is actually the 4th largest VA hospital in the country. Each of these hospitals have full-time clinical ethicists, bioethicists working there and doing bioethics work in the hospitals, which allows us to have these rotation opportunities for students. And so students are going to be assigned to a particular hospital in the fall and a different hospital in the spring. So you'll get to experience 2 out of the 4 hospitals in our region. While you're in your assigned hospital, there are many different opportunities, different types of rounds, different types of committees, and different opportunities to go one-on-one with healthcare professionals. Throughout these rotations, the goal is for you to fill the observer role and extract the ethical issues in the cases that you're seeing. So as you're seeing patients in an ICU, or talking about a case in an IRB meeting or a transplant selection meeting, trying to extract the ethics and understand kind of the fundamental issues going on, but also going one-on-one with healthcare professionals as they meet with patients, whether it's in an emergency department, or maybe it's a chaplain or a social worker visiting a patient that they've been asked to consult on. So these are incredible opportunities. Each week, you will meet with fellow students, also rotating at the same hospital, and a clinical ethicist or ethics committee member from the hospital to talk about the cases you've seen in that week, talk about the ethics, talk about the legal or the policy or the cultural context to better understand the ethics in the clinical setting. As I mentioned, we have short-term study abroad electives. So for 1 to 2 weeks, students can travel to another city and study a particular bioethics or medical humanities focused topic. These are 3-credit electives. We have a course this year that actually just came back from Paris, France. It was a 3-credit course and they traveled over spring break. We have an upcoming course this May. It'll go for 2 weeks to Granada, Spain. We've had courses in the past go to the Netherlands, and we've even done domestic courses to US national parks, which are incredible. Every year, we may offer different courses, so we are in the midst of deciding what courses we will be offering in 2026. So stay tuned for those to be announced sometime in the late summer. So shifting a little bit more to program outcomes. So when students come to a program like ours, because we are a 1-year program, students are often looking for this to fit into a gap year. Many students who take a gap year are looking to add additional skills and knowledge. They're looking to enhance their resume or application as it relates to their career goals. They may be searching for things like discernment and networking opportunities. And so a program like ours really is built well for a gap year. Because it can be completed in 2 semesters, students potentially could graduate from their undergrad, come and do our program for a year. While they're in our program, they could be participating in an application cycle for med school, law school, PhD programs, searching the job market, and then upon graduation, move on to the next phase of their career path and educational path. As you can see, we have over 1,200 alums at this point from our program in all kinds of careers and all kinds of fields, and we are happy to help connect students to that. I think, as I mentioned earlier, discernment is something we do really well for students. Many students who are taking a gap year are looking for that discernment opportunity, but also ways to enhance their resume and application. The double AMC actually designates our master's program as a medical school application enhancer program. So we are looked at favorably by medical schools for students who are looking to enhance their resume and application. And anecdotally, every year, very consistently, we hear from our current students who are in the midst of an application cycle, perhaps to medical school, that while they were being interviewed for medical school, all the interviewer wanted to ask about was the master's program. And that makes us really happy to hear that it is getting noticed by interviewers, it is getting noticed by medical schools, and they see the value of students coming to medical school or law school or a PhD program with knowledge and skills as it relates to bioethics and medical humanities. So one of the ways, or several ways, that we strengthen a student's skill set is through research opportunities. So beyond the curriculum, we do have research opportunities for students. So students can get involved with research active faculty and staff at the local, national, or international level. Faculty are always looking for students to join projects, and so students are able to collaborate. And you could be starting a project at the very beginning, or you could be joining one that's in progress or close to finishing up. And so there's incredible ways to get involved. We have bi-monthly research core forums where those who are involved in research meet and discuss their projects and talk about ways to improve and, looking for insight and advice. We have a monthly works in progress seminar, so you can hear from faculty as they are in the midst of conducting research or working on a project or a publication. And these are very much works in progress. So not just reading or presenting on a finalized project, but talking about something in the midst of the project, because that is when a lot of folks need the most feedback. Our partners at Metro Health and university hospitals have monthly grand rounds that students can attend either on Zoom or in person. And so those are also incredible ways to see information and updates on other research opportunities as well. We also help students prepare for the next phase. So as I mentioned, we have personalized advising for students. Those who are taking a gap year are often looking for mentorship and advice. And we have faculty who love to engage with students on this. Whether a faculty is your advisor or not, we are all open to meeting with students, talking about career paths, talking about how to connect things that you're interested in into education and career path options. As I mentioned again, discernment for undecided students. We focus on collaboration, diversity, interprofessional, and interdisciplinary nature of the field. We also have a career and professional development office within the School of Medicine that is geared towards working with our master's and PhD students. And so they love to meet with students as they think about their next phase in their career and educational paths. We also collaborate a lot with the career services at the greater university. Case Western Reserve's career services are fantastic at their at helping students, and not only do they serve undergrad, but they can serve grad students as well, and we do a lot of collaboration with them, and so they can provide additional resources for our graduate students as well. So when it comes to the application, there is an online application that students complete with an application fee. We ask for transcripts from all undergrad or graduate institutions. Unofficial transcripts are absolutely fine for the application process. We ask for a CV or a resume, 2 letters of recommendation, preferably one being from some type of professor or instructor, a statement of purpose focusing on your interest in bioethics and medical humanities, and ultimately, how do you hope to utilize this program in your greater career path? Graduate test scores are optional for all applicants. If you are an international applicant, you may be required to submit an English language test score or a transcript evaluation that is going to be based on the requirements set by graduate studies. And so you'd have to coordinate with them whether you are required to submit those or those could be waived. And then if you are a current Case Western Reserve student, we have a program called the Combined Bachelor's and Master's. And so during junior year, students can apply to do the master's program and ultimately complete the master's program during senior year. And so students would graduate in 4 years with both a bachelor's and a master's. And there's an additional application piece called the PPOS form that the student and myself would work together to finalize and submit for the application process. For those interested, we do have financial aid options. One of our areas that we are really pleased to offer students is called student assistantships. This is an opportunity for students to get involved in either teaching, research, or administrative roles within the department. In exchange, students receive a partial tuition waiver. The amount you receive is directly related to the position, the role that you're filling, and how many hours you would be working per week. Typically, it's between 5 and 10 hours, so students can receive up to around $13,000, split over the 2 semesters of tuition waiver. To be eligible to apply for student assistantships, you do have to submit a master's application by May 15th. Once you submit your application within typically 24 to 48 hours, you would receive an email from us providing you the link to the student assistantship application, which ultimately is due on June 1st. We also have a great financial aid office here on campus. Students applying for financial aid are required to fill out FAFSA. And then there's traditional financial aid models, including grants, loans, scholarships, work study. And so students just have to do their homework to find out what's going to be best for them. And if you want more information on tuition and fees, that information would be available through Case Western Reserve's Graduate Studies Office. So in terms of deadlines, we are currently taking applications for the fall 2025 start. Our next application deadline is due in 1 month. So on May 15th is our priority 2 deadline. As I mentioned before, if you want to be eligible to apply for student assistantships, you must submit your MA application by May 15th. The student assistantship application would be due on June 1st. Our final deadline to join our program in the fall would be August 1st. We have orientation at the end of August, and then classes would start August 25th. We do rolling admissions, so when we receive a completed application, it typically takes us 2 to 3 weeks to render a decision. We're really intentional on moving applications forward quickly. And so the earlier you apply, the earlier you can receive notice regarding an admission decision, which allows you to plan for housing options and funding and all that kind of stuff, so that you are ready to start the program at the end of August. All right, so I'm going to open this up to Q&A. I see we already have one question submitted. So this question says, when it comes to research opportunities, do you typically send information directly to students, or do you guide students toward faculty members who are looking for research help? This is a great question. So for students who are in the student assistantship opportunities that are assigned the research role, we do a direct match. So our faculty will tell us who are looking for students, and our students that apply for the assistantships will tell us more about their areas of interest for research, and we do a match program. And so you would be told, oh, you're assigned to this faculty. Those who would like to get involved in research outside of the student assistantships, it can go both ways. So we will sometimes send out information directly to students. So I know Dr. Anderson has done this where she will send an email out and say, hey, I'm to the students, hey everyone, I'm looking for 2 students to join me on working on a project. Here's a basic description of the project. Send me an email with your interest and why you would be a good fit. And then she looks at those who have submitted interest and then chooses 2 students. Or we may have a faculty that comes to us in the administrative option or in the administrative roles and say, faculty may say, hey, I'm looking for a student to help us in this project. Do you have a student you could recommend? And then we may approach a student and say, would you be interested in joining a research project? So we kind of see it all. We also have students who will simply raise their hand and say, I would love to get involved in research. Please let me know if there's opportunity, and we will connect when it becomes available. So we kind of do all different methods of matching based on just who raises their hand and tells us that there's an interest on either side from students or faculty. So great question. Thank you so much for asking. There was a question about part-time options. So the application process is the exact same for full-time or part-time or dual degree on the master's side. So submitting the master's application has the same requirements. When it comes time to make a decision about matriculating into the program or enrolling, you would need to decide if you're doing part-time or full-time. For those doing part-time, you would start out your first year. In the fall semester, you would take Foundations in Bioethics and Medical Humanities 1 in the fall, and taking Foundations in Bioethics and Medical Humanities 2 in the spring. Starting that next year, you would then focus on taking your electives. Your personalized faculty advisor would sit down with you and talk about what electives you're interested in, what your timeline is, what your goals are, to better understand how the part-time option fits into students' timeline. We have students who are part-time because they are full-time physicians or nurses, or perhaps they're working a part-time job locally in research, or they just graduated undergrad and they'd rather do this program part-time. There are a lot of reasons students choose part-time, and they are a welcome addition to our program. We're happy to have them. Students can take classes in the summer as part of the part-time option, but they are not required to. And so you could focus on fall and spring only, or you could do fall, spring, summer. And as I mentioned earlier, part-time could be 2 years, it could be 3 years. It would be customized to what your needs are. So great question. Thank you so much for asking. There's another question that says, do we accept letters of recommendation that have been submitted to Interfolio? Yes, we do. So what we would recommend is in the application, under the section for letters of recommendation, list the names of the individuals that you that have written the letters that are in Interfolio, and then you would go into the Interfolio system, you would request that the letters be sent to our email address, bioethics@case.edu. And then when we receive that email, that letter of recommendation via email, we would then upload it to your application matching the names. So we are happy to receive letters that way. We understand that sometimes letters submitted to Interfolio are focused on maybe law school or medical school. That is okay that those letters do not explicitly mention our program. We're happy to kind of read between the lines and understand that while they may be focused on a different type of program, it very much could be applicable to a graduate level master's program. So fantastic question. Thank you. I know we are at time. I'm looking to see if we have any final questions. I think one of the things that we often get asked is what helps our program stand out, what makes us unique compared to other maybe post-bac programs, gap year options, or you know, other masters in bioethics or medical humanities programs. And I would say our curriculum allows us to customize to a variety of students. And so students come from a lot of different disciplines and they go out in a lot of different directions. Our program is designed to do that really well. We have, as I mentioned earlier, we have grown our program over time, adding the concentrations intentionally over time, adding including the clinicals, adding study abroad. All of these have been done very intentionally over our 30 years, which allows us to be a very strong program that offers both depth and breadth to students. A lot of other programs may offer one area of depth, but not a lot of breadth. We are someone that has done this really well so that students can get a very interdisciplinary, interprofessional experience during their time in our program, and also be able to launch them into the next phase after this gap year going on to medical school, law school, other master's or PhD programs, other professional programs. If you have questions, feel free to email us, bioethics@case.edu. I'm typically the person that regularly checks this email. So if you'd like to talk about your specific interest, is this program an exactly a fit for you? I'm happy to meet with you and talk more about your individual circumstances. We can also set up a one-on-one Zoom meeting, so not just email, but a specifically personalized meeting. You can explore other webinars that we've either hosted in the past or ones that are coming up. And if you're at the point where you're making a decision regarding admission and enrollment, you're welcome to schedule a visit with us. Most of our courses are offered on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I highly recommend if those are the days you can visit, that would be a best fit. But we are here and we would welcome you on campus. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined us today. I appreciate you taking the time to either join us live or watch the recording afterwards. I hope that you learned a lot and that you consider submitting an application for us. We would love to have you join our program. And we love the opportunity to be able to work with students and alongside them as they take a gap year before going on to the next phase of their educational and career path. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day and feel free to reach out to us with any questions.